Today, I'm going to be giving you a template and walking you through how I built this CRM in Notion. This CRM has a quick capture module that allows you to quickly add a new person to your CRM just by hitting this new button and adding the name of the person. And then you can quickly add their company as well, along with their email and their phone number. It's immediately going to show up in your contacts down here under companies with the related person, as well as on your people tab where you can see all of the relevant information. And then let's imagine I wanted to add a task that's related to myself here, Carter Sirach, who is one of the people in my CRM. Well, I could simply add a new task with this new button here, and I could type in the task. So let's just say follow up with Carter about a sponsorship on his channel. And I could add an action date to that, as well as a related person, which is Carter Sirach. And now let's imagine I had to jump onto a meeting with this person. I could then go and add a new note related to that person. And I could just write in meeting March 7th, 2023. And I could take some bullet notes, and I could even use Notion AI to type up a script for the meeting. And here it would give a script that I could go through as a sponsor reaching out to Productive Dude. So that is an example of how you would use this CRM. Now I'm going to show you how you can build this so that you can keep track of all of the people that are in your life or in your business, as well as the companies that are related to those people and all of the tasks along the way. Check this out. It even has a nifty scheduler feature. So if I go in here and something needs scheduling, it would show up here. For example, if this didn't have an action date, let's just clear that, then scheduled would show 0 and needs scheduling would show this empty action date, which needs to be filled out. And once it's filled out, it'll move to scheduled. And then I can see it in my calendar. I can even drag it around to different days. And if I complete this task, it won't show up anywhere in my calendar, my scheduler, my classic list, but it will show up here in my archive where I can see all of my previously completed tasks. So stick around with me in this video so that you can learn how to build this CRM for one, and for two, you can learn the principles behind building this so that you can implement that into your own unique Notion system. There will be a full-fledged free template, and you can choose to donate if you want to, but this is going to be free and open to the public so that you guys can start accessing this and using this for your business. So definitely check out the template below in the description. Before we dive into this video, I wanted to share our relevant sponsor, Dex. Dex is the app that you need to create natural connections with the people that matter most. It's not another clunky CRM. It's pretty much just a clean, simple UI that comes with you wherever you go in the form of a Chrome extension, a desktop app, and they also have a nice mobile app. What I love most about Dex is it centralizes all of your contacts in one place so that you're not hopping from application to application. It integrates with Facebook, iCloud, Gmail, LinkedIn, and more. Dex provides you with a list of all of your contacts, as well as a map view and this beautiful mind map-like grid view. Dex is also going to remind you to wish someone a happy birthday if their birthday is coming up, or to congratulate them on a new job role. If you want to remember crucial details about your contacts, you can also take notes on your contacts so that you remember the little things that matter the most. And the best part, Dex is always evolving and changing with the technology. For instance, they just added some AI features, and they also have a handy Chrome extension that you can use anywhere on the internet. So try Dex today with the link in the description or the top pinned comment to revolutionize the way that you network and communicate with the people that matter in your career and in your life. I just want to say thank you so much to Dex for sponsoring this video. Once again, this was a super relevant video, so I was glad to bring them on for this one. And I hope that you guys enjoyed Dex. And now back to our regularly scheduled program. All right, now let's jump into how to build this CRM. Let's start with a fresh Notion page. So here I just have an empty Notion page, and I'm just going to name it CRM. And then I'm going to hit enter. And next what I'm going to do to give me a little bit more wiggle room to move around this page and utilize it to its full capacity on a nice wide screen like this is I'm going to click on these three dots and hit full width. And that's going to give me this entire canvas to work with when it comes to building my CRM and using my CRM. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a few databases that are going to run this thing. So when I'm thinking about building this, what I would often do is just create some bullet lists just to list out the things that I want to include in my CRM. Now, I already know the things I want to include, but this is just a tip for if you are building a robust system in Notion. So I'm going to list out people, companies, tasks, and notes. And I know that I want all of these to relate back to people, because what's a CRM without people, right? People have companies and tasks and notes related to them. And companies can have tasks related to them, but oftentimes you have a decision maker or somebody at the company that you are going to be reporting to. Oftentimes it's not just the company alone. So your tasks and your notes should be related to a person along with the company. And the reason that we set this architecture up this way is because it's very simple if we have one central thing that we're relating everything else to. If we're trying to relate everything to companies and people, rather than just relating it all to a person, then we're going to have to relate our tasks twice to a company and a person. And it just gets super messy. And then we're going to have to relate our notes twice to a company and a person. But if we just relate all of these directly to a person, it keeps things really streamlined and organized. And if you think about it, all of these things should be related to some person within your CRM. So these are the databases that we're going to be creating, and they're all going to lead back to people. So let's go ahead and hit / and type page, hit enter, and then you can call this one people. Go back to your CRM / page, enter company or companies / page, enter tasks / page, enter notes. Okay, and we're going to hit table on notes, new database, and we're just going to call it notes. I'm going to add a pencil icon just to make it look a bit nicer. And if you want to, you can go through and you can do this for all of these different items. You can do it for tasks as well if you'd like. You're going to need to create a table for tasks as well. So let's do that quickly. You're going to need to next create a table for companies, new database, and you're going to need to create a table for people. Okay, and then go through all of these and just fill out these icons, make them look nice. The next thing we need to do is fill out the proper information within these databases. So for people, we're just going to name this first column person. For this tags column, I'm just going to utilize what's already here and change the type to email. And I will rename this to email. And I will add another column or property, and we're going to select the phone property. And it's okay if it's named phone. I'm just going to leave it at phone. Then we're going to relate a company here. So to create a relation to a company, we're just going to hit the plus button here, and I'm going to type in relation. And this requires that companies is already created within our system. So make sure that you have a companies database created and then click on companies. That's what we're going to relate to. And make sure to hit show on companies, add relation. Now this is going to allow us to connect a person to a company or multiple people to a single company. Next, we're going to create a relation to notes. So I'm going to hit plus relation, and I'm going to type in notes, and make sure that you find the right notes selection. And we're going to add no limit and show on notes. And we can write in related people for notes and hit add relation. So now this is going to allow us to relate notes to said person. Then we're going to hit plus, and we're going to select created time. This is going to function as a way for us to filter out the quick capture module. We're going to filter out anything that has a created time date. So when something new gets added, it has a created time date. So this allows us to quickly filter this out because it has one by default. This is always going to be true. So that means that nothing is ever going to get clogged up in our quick capture database. For now, I'm just going to delete all of these people out of here, and we're going to move back to the CRM by clicking up in the breadcrumbs, and we're going to go back to companies. Here in companies, I'm just going to change the name to company. We already have a people property here, so I can click on that and actually change it to related people. That will be nice to reference because we'll be able to see which people are related to this company. I'm going to delete this tags. Well, actually, I'm just going to switch it because we need to create a created time property here as well. So let's switch that to created time and name it to created time. And the reason that we add created time again is so that we have something that is always true for every task that gets created. When I add a new one, boom, it's true. It has a created time. So now we're going to drag and drop to delete all of those companies. And I'm going to go back to the CRM up in the breadcrumbs. Next, we want to configure notes. So click on notes and delete this tags property. And you can click on these three dots to add a new property of created time. You could have also just turned that tags property into created time like we had done previously. Again, we're going to delete all of these items, head back to our CRM. And last but not least, we're going to go into tasks. And tasks is going to be the most complex database that we've created thus far. Don't worry, it's not going to be too complicated, but we are going to add a scheduling formula in here to let us know if we need to reschedule a task. It's a very simple formula, and I think that you'll be able to follow along if you just watch and learn. So I'm just going to rename this first column to tasks, and we're going to delete all of those items out of there. Let's actually add one, just so we have one column to click into when we create the formula. And we're going to delete tags. And then I'm going to go to properties, and I don't have this related to people yet. So what I want to do is create a relation to people. So let's hit the plus button and go to relation, people, and show on people. And we'll call this related tasks. And I'm just going to hit add relation. And now we can relate our tasks to specific people. Next, we're going to create a status. So status. And then we're just going to keep it as status. We're going to have not started, in progress, and done. That's perfectly fine how it is. You can change the names of these if you want. So you can just click on it, hit edit property, and then you can change the names on these if you just click into them and you want to make it a little bit different. Like let's imagine that you wanted to make this red, you wanted to make the in progress yellow, and you wanted to keep that green. You can also add emojis in here that can make it look a bit nicer. If you have some emojis in here, I think it just makes your entire database look more aesthetically pleasing. Next, we're going to go ahead and add an action date. So I'm going to hit date, and we're going to call this action date. And now we're almost done. We're just going to add that created time property, same reason as before. And then we're also going to hit plus, and we're going to type in formula, hit enter on the formula. And what we want to do is we want to print scheduled or needs scheduling based on if the action date is filled out or not. So let's create two tasks here. Let's imagine this follow-up here is related to a person with the name of untitled. Well, let's just name it Carter, just to make this a little bit more of a practical example. And then let's say we have a follow-up with Chad. The follow-up with Carter has an action date. The follow-up with Chad does not. So here we want this formula to print scheduled for this particular task, and we want it to print not scheduled for this particular task. So what we're going to do is click into this empty box, and we're going to type in if parenthesis empty, and we're just going to select this function as it pops up, and then we're going to type in prop. So we have to tell it which prop action date. Actually, just delete prop and just click action date. That's a quicker way to do it because it puts prop in there for you. And then we're going to close that off, and then we're going to add a comma. And next we're going to enter some quote marks, and we're just going to type in what we want it to say if action date is empty. So if action date is empty, needs scheduling, and then close that off, some quote marks. We're going to add another comma. So next we're going to add some quote marks, and I'm going to type scheduled. So this is what it's going to print if this is not true. So then we're going to close that off and hit done. So now, as you can see, this one here says scheduled, and this one below says needs scheduling. But if I add a date to this, it's going to say scheduled as well. So now I can group by this formula, and I'm just going to rename this formula to scheduled ? And we can just go ahead and hide this formula. It doesn't need to be seen in any of our views. Same with all of these created time properties. Unless you want to have them in your views, you can just hide in view. And now this should be relatively functional. So now let's build out our homepage because we have the back-end databases ready to go. They're all built how we need them. So what I like to do is create callouts to organize things. So I'm just going to hit slash and I'm going to type in call, and then you'll see this callout block. Hit enter and we can add an icon here. So for this first one, I'm going to type in databases and I'm just going to select the databases icon. And we're just going to call this databases. Make it bold by highlighting it and hitting Control+B or Command+B if you're on a Mac. And then I'm going to hold Shift and hit enter. And that's going to give me some space within here that I can drag some of these inside of databases. Make sure not to drag your page within another page. They must be dragged inside of this databases callout. I'm just going to hit slash, type div, hit enter, and that will create this divider. Now, for some reason, it pulls it out of this callout, but I'm just going to drag it back into there and backspace. And now we have a nice divider that divides the title of this callout with all of these different databases that are running our system. You can think of these as the inner workings and the engine of our system. And now we're going to build the interface for this system. So what sort of functionalities, filters, and views do we want? Well, first and foremost, we want a way to quickly capture these bits of information. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit slash and type call, hit enter. So we've got another call out now. And I'm going to choose the plus icon. And we're just going to call this quick add or quick capture, whatever you want to call it. I did a full tutorial on quick capture. So if you want the slower, more thought out process of this, then you can watch that. So what you're going to do is you're just going to hit slash and you're going to type in create linked view of database. So hit enter and wow, you see that it jumps right out of the quick add call out. So let's just drag it back in, put it in its place and hit select a data source. And we're just going to select whatever we want to show up first in our quick add. It can be people, companies, notes, or tasks. I'm just going to go with people since that's the highest level of our database hierarchy. So I'm going to click people. I'm going to hide this title and we're going to click on these three dots right here. Change the layout to gallery. And next we're just going to click on these three dots and go to layout and select the card size as small. And then we're going to filter and we're going to filter by created time. And we're just going to say created time is empty. So nothing is going to pop up in here because created time is empty is not true for anything. Even if we add a new task, when we hit new, it's not going to show up in here. It's just going to show up here. So what I want to do on this new task is I actually want to configure things a little bit better. I want to go ahead and I want to always hide created time. Email and phone should be available up here. And I want to show as page section with tasks so that they appear down here in my page. And I'll do the same for notes, show as page section. And companies can stay up here because I have a feeling that if we are doing this for people, then they're probably only going to have one or two companies related to them. We're not going to need to see them in a list down here within the page. So then I'm just going to click out of this. And what I've effectively done by hitting new is I've added a new person. So now I can quickly just hit new whenever I want to, and I can give the person a name. I can give their email here. I can put in a phone number for them, and I can add a company that's related to that person by typing out the company name and then hitting this new button right here. And now if I have a task or a note that I want to add immediately, I can do so by hitting add related task. And I already have some tasks in here, but let's say I wanted to create a new follow-up. So follow up with name, hit new. And now you're going to see that related task in here. What I recommend is clicking these three dots and then adding in the status. So you're going to see the status in here as well. Because unfortunately, there's not a way to filter this data. So you're going to see all of your completed tasks for this person unless you delete them entirely out of the system. And you won't have it in your archive, but it won't show up here anymore. So if that annoys you to see this, even if it says done, then you can definitely do that. In the other views, we can actually filter this out. But in this particular view, you can't filter out tasks that are done. That is how you will see tasks in relation to a person. You see their company, you see their phone number, their email. And now I'm going to add notes as well. So add notes. And this is very useful if you are jumping on a Zoom meeting or something like that. You just hit new note, and I can now click into this note and type in meeting. And let's just, by the way, let's just hide this property here. Always hide created time. And I'm just going to type continue on here with meeting. And then I'm going to put the date 3/8/2023. And then here I can just take some bullet notes, or I can use Notion AI to write about anything that I want for this meeting. Or I could even just take some notes about the meeting. And then once I've taken a ton of notes and they're all filling up the page, I can just highlight those notes, click on the 6 dots on the side, hit Ask AI, and then hit Summarize. And it will summarize all of the notes on the page. This document is not informative and does not contain any useful information. That's because it's an example. But if you had a ton of notes taken in here, you could have AI write you a summary, and then you could insert it into the section below, and we could quickly just enter down, type out summary. We could bold summary there. And then we'd have our original notes up top, and we'd have a summary of those notes at the very bottom. So this is a very useful way to use this template if you do have Notion AI. You will get 20 prompts per month, I believe, on the free plan, but you do need to pay for it. I think like $10 per month or $5 per month or something like that to get unlimited prompts. So continuing on with the tutorial now, this quick capture is working for people, and this person card is popping up how I want it to. One thing you can do if you don't like the way that it's popping up in the middle is you can click on these 3 dots, and then you can go to layout and open pages in side peek. This is what I prefer, just opening them in side peek. So then I hit new, and it just pops up over here. I can quickly add a name for the person. I can fill all the information out, and then I can just close it with this button right here. That's a much quicker way to fill things out, in my opinion, and I like that it pops up on the side rather than popping up in the middle of my screen. Now let's go ahead and rename this. Right now it's named gallery, so I'm just going to click on this, hit rename, and I'm going to call this add new person. And you can change this icon to the plus button, or you could change it to a person if you wanted to, however you want to do that. And what we're going to do next is hit slash, type div, and we're going to get that divider, drag it back into this quick add box, and we're going to duplicate it from here and drag that below add new person. And we can actually duplicate this and repurpose it for companies, tasks, and notes for those respective quick captures. So let's just click on these 6 dots and then hit duplicate. And from here, what I can do is click on these 3 dots, go to source, and I can change the source to tasks. Okay, now it's set up for tasks, and I'm just going to go into filter, created time is empty. I'm going to hide this tasks title, and I'm going to rename this to add new task. And you can add a nice icon, then click away from that window. And now I can hit new, and it's going to pull me into a new task. I'm just going to quickly hide these different properties that I don't want to see, because if you get all these properties coming up in your face when you're trying to quick add something, it's not as effective as just seeing what needs to be filled out like this. One of the things you can also do is you can add a property in here, and we're just going to select roll up, and we can roll up the company that is related to this person if we want to. So I can say related company, and we can select the relation we're referring to, which is people, and we can go to the person property of companies, and then from there, just have show original and click away. Now, if I click on this, I can't add a company, but if I add a person like Carter, it should pull in the company that's related to Carter. Since I don't have a company related to me, I can add a company really quick, productive dude. And then I can head back over to my task, for instance, of follow up. And you'll notice that related company is in here. So these are the useful things that you want to see when you are looking at a task view. Next, we're going to just quickly drag this divider above add a new task so that we have dividers between each of these. I'm going to duplicate another divider, drag it down, and now we need to add the quick add for notes and companies. So let's click on these 6 dots, hit duplicate. And again, we're going to go into these 3 dots, go to source. We have to select one of them that we haven't selected yet. I'm going to go with companies. And here we just need to filter by created time is empty. It's that simple. I click away, I hide this database title, and then I can quickly click on this title here for the view, hit rename, and I can change this to add new company. We can click on this icon and I'm going to add the plus button once again. And now I can click away, and if I hit new, we're adding a new company. Let's go ahead and hide created time. And again, we can add a roll up that shows us the tasks that are related to the people within this company if we want to. So in order to do this, I'm just going to click to show the properties. It's going to pull created time back in, but it's also going to pull up add a property. And I'm going to hit add a property. We're going to click roll up, and I'm going to name this roll up related tasks. We're going to select the relation related people. And then we're going to select the property in here of related tasks. Show original. And now if I select a person like Carter, it's going to show all the tasks that are related to Carter. And what I'm going to do from here is just drag related tasks below related people. And then I'm just going to hide that property again. Now, if I have a company, they will have a person related to them as well as related tasks. And if I click on Carter, you'll see that he has company now as well as productive dude. If I want to unlink something, I can always hit this minus button, which I'm going to do with this particular company. Finally, let's move on to the final quick capture button. And let's drag this divider between new task and new company, and then duplicate another divider, drag it down to below company. And we're going to duplicate the add new company quick capture, drag it below that divider, and we're going to click on these 3 dots right here. Then you're going to change the source to notes because that's the only quick capture that we haven't added. I'm going to change this to add new note, and we're going to make this the plus icon. Going to hide this title, and we're going to go to filter, created time is empty. We're going to hit new so that we can change this view. And if created time is already hidden, you don't need to change anything about this. One thing that you can do is you can pull in and roll up the related company. So if I hit add a property, then I go to roll up, I can choose related company and relation of related people, property, companies. And now if Carter is related to this particular note, it's also going to pull in the company that's related to Carter. Now I can click away, and our quick add is complete for our CRM. Now we need to add some more views and some more ways of interacting with these databases. The 2 views that I'm interested in are my contacts and my tasks. So let's go ahead and create those different callouts and then create the database views that we need to see within them. Now we're stuck over here in a single column, but what I would like to do is create some new columns. So below here, I'm just going to type 1 and enter, type 2, and I'm going to drag 2 until I see that little blue divider, and I'm just going to let go. And now we have 2 columns. I'm going to drag quick add underneath 1, and I'm also going to drag databases underneath quick add. Make sure that you see that little blue line snap underneath it, not inside of it, not too far underneath it like that, but right underneath it, and drag over until you get the desired look. If you go too far, you get this weird scroll bar. If you go too big, it just doesn't look all that good. One thing you can do is, I haven't done this yet, but you can click on these 3 dots in all of these and change the layout card size to small and just drag it a bit further over. So this is what I prefer, but if you are on tablet or mobile, this is not going to look good. These are going to be like all over the place and it's just not going to look good. So I recommend keeping everything in one column if you're going to be using tablet and mobile. Don't do this 1-2 thing. Just start creating below databases from here on out, what I'm going to create in column 2. But if you use your computer, this is going to look beautiful on your computer. So next we need to create the your tasks callout section. So I'm going to enter, I'm going to type /callout, enter. Your tasks is what we're going to call it. I'm going to highlight it, Control B to make it bold. And here for icons, we're just going to go with the check. I'm going to hold Shift, hit enter, type /create linked view of database. enter. And then if it pops out of the call out, just drag it in there and then get rid of that space. And we're going to name this view classic list, and it's just going to be a list of our tasks. So I'm going to select a data source, tasks. I'm going to hide this task title, and I'm going to rename this to classic list. And this list is just going to include everything except for my tasks that are done. I don't want to see anything that's done in here. So when I hit done, I want it to disappear out of this list. Okay, so I'm going to hit filter, going to go to more status. The status is not done. So then it's going to show me anything that's not done. And when something gets checked off, it disappears. You might be wondering where those will go, but we're going to be creating an archive view where you can see all of your completed tasks in a moment. The next view we need to create is called the scheduler. So I'm going to hit plus and I'm going to click tasks once again. We're going to rename this view to scheduler. And what you'll notice is it's retained this filter because I duplicated it from here. So this is good because we don't want to see our completed tasks here either. We just want to see our tasks organized by that property that we created earlier for scheduled. So what I'm going to do is click these three dots, go to group, and then we're going to click this scheduled formula. Now you're going to see this no scheduled in here. If you see that, then you can just add a new task and it should say needs scheduling now. That's because this particular task does not have an action date. I'm going to hide these properties because I don't need them. So I'm going to close that. Why do we have this no scheduled? Well, this is because Notion just assumes that there might be a chance that we don't have a task that has one of these two situations, but every task is going to either need scheduling or it's going to be scheduled because it either has an action date or it doesn't. So what we need to do is we need to click on these three dots here and we need to hit hide. Now it's not going to show us that group and it's just going to show us needs scheduling and already scheduled. Once we give a task an action date, it's not going to be in needs scheduling anymore. We can close that and then we can just focus on our schedule. We're going to go ahead and sort by action date here so that it shows us the action date ascending. And once it shows us the action date ascending, we'll see all of our upcoming tasks based on the date that we're going to take action on them. Next, let's duplicate this scheduler and let's create a calendar view. I'm going to name it calendar. I'm going to click on layout calendar. And here we can see our tasks on a calendar view. I can drag them around to change the action date or the date that I'm going to take action on them. And I can also click on these three dots right here, go to properties, and then I can enable the properties that I want to see. So if I want to see status underneath these, I can check the status eye and you'll see that status pops up. You can do that with any of these other properties as well, like people, so that you can see the related person. And if you wanted to pull in the company, you could hit related company. And it would show you the company that's related to that person. And again, you can drag these around, you can click into them, and you can complete them, and they'll disappear from this as well because we duplicated this calendar from scheduler. Now we're going to create another view, and this view is going to be of tasks, but I'm just going to create a new table for this one because I want to see all of my tasks that are done in this archive view. So we're going to name it archive. Hit enter, and we're going to get rid of this title by hiding database title. And we're just going to click on the filter, go to more, status is done. So now the status has to be done to be seen in here. And you can leave this as a table if you want to, just like this. You can pull in any properties that you want to see here. But what I prefer for the done is just a layout of list so that all I see here are the task's names and if they're done or not. And you can also go to properties and you can pull in the related person and the related company if you'd like, so that if it has that relevant person, like this one here, and that person has a company related to them, then you'll see the person and the company that these tasks are related to. So now we have a classic list where we can check things off and it's sorted by, well, it should be sorted by action date. I haven't done that yet, but you hit sort, action date, ascending, and now this is sorted by action date. So I'm going to see the most recent upcoming action date. And then under scheduler, we're going to see any tasks that need scheduling. For instance, if I quickly add a new task, let's just call it follow up with so and so, and then we add a person so and so to our database, and it doesn't have an action date. I click away because I don't want to make an action date for it yet. What you'll notice is when you come back later, you can process this and you can think of a good action date for it. So then I added an action date. It's on my calendar and it's out of needs scheduling. So that's that workflow. That's how that works. And then we have the calendar, and the calendar view allows you to drag things around and reprioritize where things are inside of your calendar. And finally, we have the archive so that you can reflect on the things that you've completed. There's one more step in finishing up this CRM, and that is to add a contacts area. So this is a place where you can just see a general library of all of the companies and people that are related to your CRM. So in order to get out of this database, we're just going to hit backspace in this empty space down here. If, by the way, you accidentally delete something, like let's say I accidentally deleted all of that, I could just hit Control Z or Command Z to bring it right back. And then we're just going to click into this empty space here. I'm going to type /callout, enter, and we're going to call this your contacts. Highlight it all and hit Control B, or Command B if you're on Mac to highlight it or to bold it, excuse me. And then we're going to click on this icon. And for contacts, we're just going to type in person. And I'll just go with like this profile picture here. And we're going to hold shift, hit enter, hold shift, hit enter again, click up here, hit /, type div, enter. And no matter what I do, this thing doesn't stay in here. So I'm just going to drag it back in, backspace those spaces. We're going to hit plus next to that divider. Finally, we're just going to type in create linked view of database. And this time we're going to link a view of people. So I'm going to select people. I'm going to go ahead and hide this database title. And I don't want to see this in a table. I want to see it in a gallery. So I'm going to click on these 3 dots, go to layout and gallery. Now this looks a whole lot nicer for looking at all of the people within your database. So I'm just going to hit card size, make it small. None of these are that important that I want them to just completely fill the whole screen and take up the rest of the screen real estate. And then this is optional. But if you have pictures of these people, or if you want to pull pictures off of their LinkedIn and pop them in here, you could do that and just have a picture of them. You could go ahead and change card preview to page cover. And let's say we had a picture of so-and-so. We could add a cover here, change cover, and you can hit upload, or you can link to that picture here, or you can just go to Unsplash, and I'm just going to add an example headshot. And I'm going to select this guy here, and then I can reposition this, hit save position, click away. And now we have a nice picture here, which I can also reposition at this point, hit save position. And then you'll have some nice pictures of these different people in here. Any of these untitled people, this is an opportunity to kind of purge out any mistakes that you might have made when you're hitting add on the quick add. You might just accidentally click that, and then it's just going to create an untitled person if you click away. So for any of these untitled, we can just click these 3 dots, delete, 3 dots, delete, and so on. Let's delete this one as well because it was just an example. Same with name of person. And we could just go through here and we could add a cover photo for each of these people. It could even be a company logo or something like that if you don't have a headshot for the person. But I'm just going to add some headshots in here to make this look a bit nicer. So that could look really nice if you wanted to see your contacts by their face. Might help you remember them a little bit better if you put a face to the name. Next, I'm just going to hit sort, and we are going to sort by person ascending. And what that's going to do is it's going to alphabetically sort these names. Then what we can do is we can rename this here to people. And if we want to bring in some more properties, click properties and select the properties you want to see. So email, phone, related company. And if you select all of those, then if this person has those, it will show up. So let's just do cart@test.com. If I click away, you'll notice that I now have these properties showing up because I've filled those out. Now, if you don't want to show a face here, you can just click these 3 dots, go into layout, and then you can change card preview to none, and that will get rid of the face. Next, we're just going to go ahead and duplicate this people page, and we're going to go to source, change it to companies, and now we have our companies here. I'm just going to rename this to companies. We're going to hide this title. And again, if you want to, you can click on these 3 dots, go into properties, and you can show specific properties that you want to show, like related people or related tasks. And you can even click on these three dots, go into layout. And if you want to see a preview or a logo for each of these companies, for instance, you could select page cover. And then you could click into each of these, add a cover, and whatever you make the cover will show up here. So let's just go to Unsplash, for instance, and search up logo and see what kind of logos they have. That is how you would sort of add those and add the properties within it. I hope you enjoyed this CRM walkthrough, and if you want this without having to build it, then you can check out the link in the description below. I'm sure if you've stuck around this long, then you probably aren't here for the template. You're probably here to learn about how to build. But if you do want to access the template to look back at what I've done in this video, you certainly can do that. All right, we'll see you in the next one.